Hey everyone, this is Casey with CReeves Makes. In today's video I will be showing you how I produced these tapered well cutting boards using a mini router sled. I will be starting with two maple and cherry cutting boards that I had previously glued up. I start by getting them to rough thickness on the planer and then finishing them up on the drum sander. This maple had some nasty tear out from the planer, so the drum sander was a lifesaver here. After the final sanding was done, I had to determine what I wanted the juice well to look like. I drew the profile onto a piece of paper and then transferred that onto a piece of scrap wood. I then move over to the bandsaw and cut out that profile, leaving the line. Once that is cut, I take it over to my spindle sander and sand to the line, cleaning up the edges. I add center marks to the cutting boards and also to the template. Using double-sided tape, I stick the template to the cutting board. I decided that I needed a router sled to cut this profile, so I quickly designed and built one. If you would like plans for an improved version of this sled that I built, they are up on my website. Please click the link in the description below. To get my taper, I simply added a 3/4 inch thick piece of wood under the far side of the cutting board. This produces the angle that I need to route. I will basically be routing from 0 to 3/4 inches deep across the surface of the cutting board. This is the Rockler bowl bit, and I'm also using the Rockler 1/2 inch to 1/2 inch collet extender. So it goes into the standard collet on your router and then extends up to here for if you're using a sled or any kind of extended deck where you're going to be routing or plunging down through a surface. So my router is going to be riding on my sled up here, but I'm going to be routing down into this surface here. So that extender allows me to do that along with the plunge base from Rigid on this 2 1/4 horse router. This bit is 1 1/4 inch diameter and it's got the bearing follower. So I've got my template in place here with double stick tape all the way around. So that's kind of my safety zone here, and getting ready to start it. So here we go. Once I have everything locked down and secure, I double check everything on the router before I begin. I start by taking very shallow passes to see how the bit and the wood will react. Once I am comfortable with the sled and the action of the routing, I eventually end up taking 1/8 inch deep plunges. I was extremely happy with the results of this sled. I put a little bit of furniture wax on the rails and everything moved really nice. After getting the board to a good depth, I take one more extremely shallow pass to clean up any bit burn in the corners. This is a common occurrence when routing maple and cherry, but it actually wasn't too bad on these boards. All that was left was to peel off the template and take the board out. I cut the boards to the final width using my crosscut sled on my table saw. Moving to the router table, I used the same bowl bit to produce the handles in the sides of these boards. I simply make a couple of light passes until I'm happy with the profile, and then I slowly raise the bit until I get to the center line of the board's thickness. I was really pleased with how these handles turned out. They were really comfortable, and I think the customer will like them. After that, I did some final roundover sanding at the spindle sander. I thought these boards would look good with a nice big radius on the corners. I tried the 1/8 inch roundover bit in my trim router just to see how it would produce on the profile. It got a little hairy going across the thin edge here, so I decided to do the second board on my router table. Much easier. I was really pleased with how these boards were turning out. They looked great. They had kind of an organic feel to them that I just really appreciated. I used water to raise the grain one more time before I finished sanding. Once the water dries, this grain appears rough and feels gritty to the touch. Sand it one more time with 320 and you'll get a super smooth board after oiling. After sanding, all I had left was to put on my brand and they were ready for oil. I simply bathe these boards in mineral oil overnight, and then the next day I let them dry and I buff them out with a rag. I then apply a butcher block conditioner and let that dry for a couple days, buffing them periodically. I was extremely thrilled with how these boards turned out, and the customer loved them as well. I've gotten so many compliments and comments on them that I've actually received some orders for more, so I can't wait to produce them. They're such a unique look and so different from other cutting boards that you see out there. The handles are extremely comfortable, the size is nice. These boards were roughly 20 inches by 16 inches and 1 inch thick. If you like this channel, please subscribe below, and as I mentioned, the Router Sled plans are available on my website. I'm Casey with CReeves Makes, and thanks for watching.